How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and exciting day. Today's the day we are finally going to start day one of our build of this camper van. If you guys missed last week's episode, we went and picked up this 2020 Ford Transit, bought it used from somebody nearby. We actually did have one on order from Ford, like a brand new one, but they told us that was gonna take until like next summer at least, so we would have been waiting over a year.
And paid more.
Yeah, and we would have paid way more money. So we found this used one, got it for cheaper. Good business financial decision, I think, getting a used one instead.
We're learning from our mistakes.
Yeah. But anyway, welcome to our new home. We're going to be building this thing into a tiny home. But before we're doing any sort of adventures with this, there is just an insane amount of work. As you can see, it is an empty cargo van. There's lots to do. We got to get into this build. Let's do it. All right, so before we do anything with this van, there's a lot of prep work that needs to be done. So all we've done so far is we had kind of taped out sort of like a floor plan that we are gonna be tinkering with.
We'll discuss later.
Yeah, we'll discuss later. There's a lot of other stuff that we need to do in the meantime. So like we said, it's a used van. This was used as I think like a pure later delivery truck, and it's definitely not perfect. There are, lots of dents and little scratches pretty much all over the inside of this van. But yeah, definitely this van needs some love. The first thing we're gonna do before we get going on anything is just clean the crap out of these floors. So these floors are just full of scuffs, scrapes, and marks. But yeah, guys, join us today as we embark on day one of our build. Let's do it.
Also, one other side note, we are not professionals.
No, that would be,
So-
do not think that we are professionals in any sort of way.
Yeah.
We are two idiots
Amateurs.
with no idea what they're doing. And we're just gonna be following videos and guides online and hoping for the best. But if you guys know us, that's how we roll. That's how we've always been. Let's do this. Enough talk. Alrighty, we're basically all done the floor now. I know it doesn't really look a lot different, but trust me, it is a lot better than it was before. So what we're gonna do now is mask off the cab area in the front so we can paint this floor and get it looking nice again. Alrighty, this is all masked off and ready to go. And now we're gonna hit some of the most scuffed up areas of the van floor with this rust reformer paint. All right, so we are done with the rust reformer paint. We are done for today. We gotta let this sit for 24 hours and then we're going to paint it all white and it'll be like a brand new floor again. So obviously not leaving it like this, that would be insane. So yep, let this sit, let it dry. See you guys tomorrow. Alrighty, so it's been a couple days. It was actually raining yesterday, so I wasn't able to work on this, but this is all dried up now. We're gonna hit it now with this high performance rust enamel paint. Try to get this back to what it looked like when it was new. Let's do this. So we are done painting the floor now. That took way more paint than I thought it was going to, and I thought I was like saving money by getting spray cans too. At the end of the day, I should have just gone with a gallon of that white paint and brushed it on or rolled it on, because that was a lot and that was a pain in the butt. But the floor's done, it's ready to go, and we're gonna move on from that now. The next thing we're gonna do is to get some of this sound deadening material, but we're just gonna do the floor for tonight and get that ready for subfloor installation, which should start tomorrow, so pretty excited about that. That's tonight's project complete. Yeah, that was actually pretty easy. It only took like an hour. Yeah, we're gonna call it for tonight. Tomorrow is subfloor time. It's the next day and pretty rainy day. But anyway, we're going to start attacking our subfloor project today. So yeah, I've sort of kind of already marked out with green tape where our furring strips are gonna go. So the type of floor that we're doing is pretty standard. We're gonna do furring strips where all these green tape is, and then 1-inch XPS foam insulation for all these empty spots, and then 3/4 inch plywood on top. So yeah, we're going to start with that today. A lot of new stuff for us today. We busted out a table saw. We never used a table saw before, so we had quickly learned how to use one this morning, and we're gonna rip a whole bunch of boards to make our furring strips for this. So join us for that. It's gonna be a good day. Let's do this. All right, so the furring strips that we're cutting right now, they need to be, for the most part, 1 inch thick, because that's the thickness of our insulation foam board. You can see behind me back there. And so yeah, we're gonna make them 1 inch thick because they're gonna be sitting on top of the ribs of the van. All right, we are done our furring strips. So yeah, everybody does this differently. Like the countless hours that I've spent poring over videos and blogs and write-ups of other people's method of doing pretty much everything in vans, they're so different and there's no right way to do it. You know, some people swear by a certain way, but other people swear by other ways. So this is the way that we've chosen to do ours. 4 supports in the front, 3 in the middle, 4 in the back here. So that's kind of the general layout. So what we're gonna do now is pocket hole all of these, and then we're gonna paint them all with like an anti-mold kind of layer. And yeah, once that all dries, we'll put it all back in here and then get on to the next step. So let's do it. So we're gonna put pocket holes in all of our furring strips. So we got the Craig jig, the pocket hole jig. This thing is super awesome and popular. Everybody already knows about it already, so I don't need to go over it. So we're gonna use that on both ends, on all the furring strips before we paint them. And voila. Okay, so we have laid out all of our furring strips, and now we're gonna give them all a couple of coats of this Bullseye 123 primer. It's basically like a mold and mildew resistant film. We're gonna give these all a couple of coats and install them once they dry. So we have done 2 coats of the mold and mildew primer stuff on all of our furring strips. Now they're gonna dry overnight, and tomorrow we're gonna get back at it, line these up in the van, and continue the subfloor. So join us for that. So right now we just got the world's biggest xylophone going on here. Anyway, catch you guys tomorrow.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to day 8, apparently, of our van build. It's been a month since we've been like home and like, you know, attempted to start working on this van, but it's technically only day 8 that we've been doing work. Yeah, so we thought that was kind of interesting. Well, we're gonna try and keep track. But the other night we painted all the furring strips, and I've just laid them back out into the van because apparently we now have to screw and glue them together.
Everything has been screwed and glued together. These furring strips are good to go. I still need to figure out how to shim this dented part in the back, but it's all good. I'll kind of tackle that as we go along. But the next thing we're gonna do now is cut out our 1 inch XPS insulation to fit in all of these gaps. So let's do that.
All right, so there is one spot on the van that is a little bit confusing. But I think we've figured out what we are doing. This is the front of the van, like where the slider door is.
Yeah, so this is our entryway that we're trying to figure out, and of course you always have to figure out
There's a little overhang.
how much you want your countertop to overhang and how much space you want to enter into the van. So I think we got it pretty good. Basically,
Here, hold on.
our kitchen cabinet is going to extend out about 13.5 inches out this way. So we're kind of creating this support beam brace for it, and it should work pretty good, I think. Alrighty, we have finished all of the insulation panels. So we need to cut one more tiny one here. We've actually changed our plan for this area entirely. Before we had this piece come all the way out here, And we're still gonna have this overhang that comes about 13.5 inches out. But the way we support it is just gonna be different. We're not gonna have this piece come all the way out. We're just gonna build other pieces underneath it, kind of in this L shape here. And that's how we'll get support for that overhang. So this is gonna be much cleaner. I don't really know what I was thinking before with that other one.
No. The reason we're changing that is because we're hoping that this will be a drawer, and if we some sort of space for storage. But if we were to use this big block, it's gonna like shorten.
The amount of space that we can make a drawer out of. So we're gonna do it like this. Should be good. Cut this final piece. So the next step before we glue all these foam boards down are to bring back the factory floor mat and trace out and sort of get an idea of the outline that we need to trace out on our plywood, which is going on top of all this to finish up our subfloor. So let's keep pushing on. We can do it. Okay, so we just brought back the factory floor mat so we can kind of get an idea of how we're gonna cut out these plywood sheets. So especially important for the door here. Oh, we needed to extend out here and a little bit here. So I just kind of wrote down some measurements. We're going 15 inches from the edge of this over this way, 3 inches from this edge over this way, 15/16 over this way. And here in the back, we're gonna go 6.5 this way, so the floor will overhang over this rear lip and finish it off with some sort of like vinyl nose edging or whatever that stuff's called. So this should be good. Let's get cutting. For our plywood, we went with the premium stuff. This is 3/4 inch marine grade plywood.
I knew it! What? I was like, there's no way. I was like, this doesn't look that big.
Okay, so I don't know how we made that mistake, but you need 4 sheets of 4x8 plywood to do an extended Ford Transit floor. It's possible we could have just used this offcut here to do the front, but then we'd just have a lot of like kind of uneven seams, and
there's no support.
The way that we've laid the furring strips wouldn't support seams running in that direction. So that's not going to work. We're going to buy another sheet of plywood, but unfortunately it's Sunday, so the place is not even open until tomorrow. So we have to put the brakes on work today, which sucks. We were just getting into it. But anyway, see you guys tomorrow. We gotta get wood, and then we'll start tackling this, because the end is in sight with this project. I know it is. Welcome to the next morning. We got up bright and early, got ourselves the last piece of ply, and now we're ready to start tracing this and cut out our floor. Okay, so we have finished tracing everything out. This thing is good to go. And now for the scary part of actually cutting it and test fitting it and all that. So
one shot.
You only get one shot at this, unless you want to keep buying $150 boards, which no. All right, test fitting our first piece.
Wow.
So Dana just traced the bottom of this piece.
I attempted to. It's a little wobbly.
We know that part's dented, so it's not gonna be like a perfect kind of shape anyway. But this will be for the back step, so we can get the maximum amount of floor space. I'm gonna try to cut this in a little curve right now. Okay, so we have shaped this out. Well, I do a little bit of sanding and smoothing to get this edge a little bit nicer, but let's see if the door closes.
Wow.
Oh. We will have to create a hole for our spare tire, which is right here. So we'll have to mark that out later before we screw all this down. But this is a good start. Let's do some more.
We have a floor!
That's perfect. Good job.
Guess what? We have a floor! It's not glued down, but it's all cut out and ready to be glued down.
Yeah, that was a heck of an adventure cutting this thing out. I think we did a pretty good job though, all said and done. Having like the factory floor mat definitely helped to have like an outline, but even that wasn't exact, so we still managed to get a pretty good cut, I think.
Go us!
We have cleaned everything up and gave it a good wipe down, and now we're just kind of marking out where the furring strips are sitting so we can lay down our glue. It's been a lot of days on this project. We're getting pretty ready to be done the floor.
I'm sick of the floor. I literally was just telling Mike that I feel like we have done so much work, but it looks like nothing in here. So I'm ready for the floor to be done and for it to actually look like we've done something and then move on.
All right, so the adhesive we're gonna use to glue the furring strips to the metal of the van is Sikaflex 221. It is a multi-purpose polyurethane adhesive, very popular for this sort of application. And yeah, let's get to it.
All right, Mike, it's your least favorite construction activity.
Indeed.
Anything to do with the caulking gun has been a little bit of a headache for us.
Okay, so next we're using PL300. It's a foam board adhesive to put the insulation boards, glue them to the metal of the van. So let's do it. Alrighty, we are finished with the gluing, and we have put in all sorts of...
Literally anything we could find.
Yeah, a big assortment of stuff to weigh it all down. But yeah, that is it for today. We gotta wait until tomorrow for this all to dry, and then we can finally screw in and glue in the floor, and then we'll be done. But turned out good. It's a good day. It's the next day. Well, it's actually been a couple days since we last worked on this. We wanted to give like a solid 48 hours for the glue to dry, just because it's getting to be pretty cold now. We're in winter now, and in the last couple days it's been freezing temps overnight, so we wanted to just give it a little extra time for the glue to cure. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next step now, which means taking out all of this plywood. We have to do spray foam underneath around all the insulation furring strips, and then we'll lay all this back on and screw and glue it all down. But yeah, there's just a couple of little detail things that we want to do first before we move on. I'll tell you about them now. So overall, everything turned out really, really good, except in this corner right here. This edge is rubbing against this metal just a little bit too much. So when you kind of step on this this section, you hear this like rubbing, squeaking noise. So we're just gonna kind of sand this edge down a little bit just so it's not rubbing so hard. And yeah, also over there, here in front of the wheel well, we discovered that got a little bit of like you can't really tell on camera right now, but this kind of like squishes it down a little bit. There's no wooden furring strip like right here or right here for this piece to screw down to. It's just the foam board, which should be fine, but getting a lot of movement there, so we might add some sort of support right there. But other than that, everything fitting really nice. And yeah, let's see how well the glue all cured and stuff once we bring all this up. What we're going to do with this plywood, once we sand that edge and fix it all up, we got to take this all out. We got to cover the whole thing with the same like anti-mold mildew primer that we did on the furring strips. So yeah, we're closing in here, but there's still quite a bit to do. Okay, we got the boards out. What I'm gonna do is just cut this section out on this side and a little bit on this side too, and just add a piece of wood there, a piece of wood there for more support.
All right, the never-ending floor saga continues. Mike has just cut a hole right here because this is important. You need your spare tire, and this is the only way to access it. So he's cut a hole here, and he's about to cut a hole on the actual floor.
All right, all good. Got our little spare tire hole.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, works pretty good, I think. Well, hello. Good morning once again, everybody. So I think it's been like
a week.
Yeah, probably at least a week since we last worked on this at all. Just been a lot of waiting around. It's gotten really, really cold here. A lot of like the glue and adhesives we used to glue all this down just wasn't setting. Like it was taking a really long time to set. So we basically left the whole thing for a week. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next step. Basically, we're going to get a can of spray foam insulation and go through all the cracks and little like channels and little gaps and stuff like that in this whole area before we put the plywood on. So yeah, that's the goal for today. So yeah, one thing to know before we get on with the spray foam, we also left a little bit of a gap in between the foam boards and the furring strips and stuff, just because I don't know if you have to do this, but we've heard that if this is like directly touching this, you could create rubbing and it'll create noise and squeaking somewhere down the line. But apparently if you leave a gap and you just fill with spray foam, you'll get no squeaks. I don't know if that's true. We're taking all the precautions anyway, and let's see what happens.
All right, Mike's all geared up, gloves and eyewear because it says specifically on there to wear that.
So we're using Great Stuff Gaps and Cracks. It's the standard one that everyone uses for van builds. But yeah, let's see how well this works. All right, this is all good to go. Spray foam is in. We're gonna let it dry now, probably maybe till tomorrow, just because going off the whole freezing temps thing we got going on right now. Yeah, I might just let this sit till tomorrow before I start cutting away at it. But another step done. See you guys tomorrow. Alrighty, welcome to the next day and what is hopefully the last day of this. So yeah, we let the spray foam dry overnight, and now we're gonna cut it all so it's all level again, and then we're gonna bring in the plywood. Finish line is almost here. Okay, so we finished cutting up all the insulation, and yeah, now it's finally time. We're gonna start bringing in the plywood. We're gonna screw and glue it down. We're gonna work our way from the back to the front. Let's finish. Okay, so we brought in our plywood, and just to show you guys how we're gonna go about this. So we're basically going to glue the plywood to the furring strips as well as the foam boards with two different kinds of adhesive. We got PL 300 for the plywood to the foam boards and PL 400 for plywood to the furring strips. So this is the wood to wood, and this is wood to foam. And then we're gonna sink them in with a bunch of 1.5" stainless steel screws. I don't know if you have to go crazy with like making sure you get stainless steel screws for this application. I did anyway. But yeah, let's do this. We're almost done.
All right, she's done.
Man, that is so satisfying to finish and cinch down the last screw. But yeah, guys, we are done. We are finished. Our subfloor, well, we still need to go around the edges with spray foam insulation. So we'll do that. And then we eventually have to get flooring on this. We're probably hoping for vinyl plank flooring. We haven't really decided yet, but we've sort of been looking at some. But yeah, super happy with how this turned out. This was definitely a ton of work, a lot of learning, and this is crazy.
A lot of waiting. So we're trying to do this in the warmth.
In the summer. Yeah, like you guys saw, we had to wait around a long time for the glue to cure and all that stuff. But yeah, this last layer of glue should cure way easier because it's got screws holding it down now. So it should be good. We walked all around it, no squeaks or anything so far. So far all the things that we've done have worked out okay.
Cross our fingers.
Yeah, we'll see what it's like once we're actually out there driving with it, and hopefully there's no noise. But I think we got all of our bases covered, and that was great. But yeah, guys, I think we're going to wrap up this video. We're going to continue our building of this van, so join us on our next episode when we tackle some other project on this.
Not sure what's next.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you got something out of it. My name is Mike.
I'm Dana.
Or Let's Just Go Travel, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Van Build.
Woot woot!